Eddie here for Precision Gun Reviews, and today we have a pistol review. It's the M&P9c from Smith Wesson. This is a polymer-framed, striker-fired pistol. It is a single action only, and it is most often used in concealed carry applications, personal defense. As you can see, it's pretty small in my hand here. It's 6.7 inches long, it's 4.3 inches high, and 1.2 inches wide. It's listed with a weight of 21.7 ounces, but you see different weights everywhere, so I weighed it myself, and I got a weight of 22.2 ounces without the magazine, and 24.7 with the magazine. And that's on a well-used gun. You know, it soaks up oil over time, whatever it is. It is a 12 plus 1, 12 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. First thing you notice when you look at a gun like this, at least I do, is that it's super attractive. I think everything about this gun looks really slick, from the slide to the grip angle, just the aggressiveness of the design. And a good thing to know about it is not only does it look good, but it's built very practically. So the grip ergonomics are very pleasing to me. The angle here feels a lot like a 1911. It just fits very naturally and points very naturally in my hand. There are also 3 different size palm swells that can be removed by taking this off. I'm not going to do it. And then you replace these palm swells. There's the large one. Fits on there, gives you a little bit of a beaver tail. And this is the medium one, which basically just widens it up a little bit, as you can see there. The grip material itself is a more rubberized texture, front and rear, as opposed to the more slick polymer elsewhere on the gun. The slide is a solid melanite finished stainless steel slide, and that is a nitride bathing process, much like Glock's Tenifer. And I'll probably mention the Glock a lot during this review because obviously this is a competitor to the baby Glock, Glock 26, Glock 27 and 40. This also comes in 40. So it is a melanite finish, very similar to that Glock Tenifer, although I do believe that the Glock Tenifer is somewhat more wear resistant, although both are meant to prevent the stainless steel from corroding. I do think the Glock somehow resists friction. Often you'll note on the chamber you'll see more wear on an M&P than you will on a Glock. Something like that. This will scratch less readily on a Glock. But it is a good, well-designed slide. You have these scalloped serrations, which not only look good, but they give you a good grip on the slide itself. The front is shaved off there. It's got a cut which is supposed to facilitate easier holstering, and this cutout here is purely aesthetic as far as I can tell. As for the sights, you have steel sights, front and rear, both adjustable, dovetailed in the front, adjustable in the back, and they really maximize the sight radius here on the M&P. It's all very intelligently designed. You can tell that they put a lot of thought into what's going on the M&P line. And they are both steel. This is a Novak style sight, and you can rack this by pushing it up against something if need be, which is nice to know. It's not plastic, which you would find on the Glock. It has an ambidextrous slide release, which I think is the worst part of the gun, actually. Let's take a look here. You have the gun locked back, and it's a lot of strength to push it down from one side. Usually what I do is I end up doing both sides at the same time, because what you have here is a one-piece sort of stirrup that goes around both sides of the gun. And if you're pushing down on one side, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the proper leverage to take down the other side. But that's minor. I usually overhand it anyway. But still, if you're one-handed, it's it's important to know that. It does have a reversible magazine release, and it shoots these magazines out very well, and I've never experienced an accidental release with this mag release, and there it is on the other side. It's not ambidextrous, but it is reversible. Now the trigger on this gun is a source of contention because of its interesting, its unique design. As you can see here, this is a plastic trigger. It has a two-piece design that acts as a safety, so pulling on the top will not release the striker, pulling on the bottom will. It's an alternate to what you might see on a Glock with the central blade or Springfield XD. I personally like a one-piece steel trigger if I can get it, and I'm not a huge fan of the Glock design because I like a little bit of a curve. A couple of other guns I have here that I do like with steel triggers are this car. They all have a steel curved one-piece trigger, and something like a CZ. This is not a CZ, this is a TriStar. It's a CZ clone, another curved steel trigger. That's my preference. So I do like this trigger once I get used to this little bit of give. Let's rack it. It's an easy pull, it's not heavy, it comes all the way back to here and clicks. Reset is short, it's audible now. The initial run of these guns were not very audible or tactile in their reset, but Smith Wesson has since addressed that. And it really comes down to whether you like this bit of take up here. There's a little bit of, let's say, creep in there before actuating the trigger. But on the range, as it turns out, it feels good in my hand, and I do enjoy shooting this gun very much. Now let's go ahead and disassemble the gun. You drop the mag first, rack the slide back, pull down this lever here, then you'll release the slide. You don't have to pull the trigger. They have a silly little tool to pull down this yellow bar in here, but I never do that because it's not necessary. Inside here you have a captive recoil spring on a stainless steel guide rod. That's another thing that you won't have on a Glock. That's stainless steel here. You have a 3.5-inch traditionally rifled barrel. It is not polygonal, so you will lose a little bit of velocity, but you can use lead, and if you're reloading, that's a good thing. The chamber does have this open sight hole, so you can see if a round is chambered. There's no round chambered when up indicator on the top of the slide, because that's silly. There it is from the chamber end. In terms of accuracy, it's often somewhat silly to talk of accuracy with guns like this. They're all as accurate as you're going to need them to be at the range you're going to be firing them, but here are a few targets. That's a group 8 yards, standing, just offhand. Here we go, 7.5 yards. This is a rifle target. This is about a 3-inch group. They're all about like 3-inch groups. This was fast fire, and it's also, again, this is not big. It just looks that way because it's a rifle target. But also, I'm not a phenomenal shooter. The gun is as accurate as it's going to need to be. It is absolutely reliable. It is gaining a lot of traction with law enforcement agencies, and I've never had a single issue with this gun in the time that I've owned it, and I don't expect that I ever will. It's been a phenomenal gun to shoot and to carry, so there's nothing really I can say against it except for this trigger. Maybe if that's not what you're used to, it might feel funny, There's an aftermarket excellent Apex tactical trigger setup that people rave about. I didn't feel the need for a self-defense weapon that works just fine for me anyway. But this gun at $569 MSRP is a great weapon to choose for self-defense, and at what you can find it for, which is more like $450, I would say that it's a steal, and it's pound for pound one of the best guns in its class that I can think of. And I didn't even mention that you have a Picatinny rail on this compact size gun, which is always nice because it can double as a nightstand gun or something like that. It gives you more options. That's the Smith Wesson M&P9 compact. It's a gun that I would recommend to anyone looking for a gun in this genre, in this form factor, this size, this caliber. The Glock 26 is going to be a little bit smaller, slightly shorter in the other dimension. They're equal width. They fit the same holster that I use, so it really comes down to what feels better to you. And if you think the features available on the M&P are worth sacrificing a little bit of size that you gain an advantage with on the Glock. But yeah, I wholeheartedly would recommend this gun to anyone. It's one of my favorites that I have. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Please give us a thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe to catch all of our new videos, and leave any comments you wish. Ask me any questions, tell me anything that I did wrong or that I missed. And be well and be safe. Thanks.